You're not lacking motivation, you're lacking boundaries. Imagine this. It's a cold morning. Your alarm goes off. There's no meeting, no deadline, no one watching, just you and your decision. Do you stay in bed because no one will know? Or do you get up because you made a promise to yourself? This isn't just about a morning routine. It's a war. A quiet, invisible battle that happens before the world even wakes up. And what you choose in that moment will shape the man you become. This is what the Stoics call inner discipline, and it might be the only superpower you truly need. In this video, you will learn 10 Stoic truths to help you stay disciplined based on the philosophy of Marcus Aurelius and the Stoic sages. Let's get started. 1. Begin where you least want to begin. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Morning is for action, not indulgence." And he meant every word. We live in a world where most people wait to feel ready. They search for motivation, for the perfect mood, the ideal moment to strike. But the Stoics knew better. They understood that if you wait to feel inspired, you'll wait forever. Discipline begins in the exact place you want to avoid. It starts when your bed is warm, but your goals are cold. It starts when your mind whispers, "Not today," and you answer, "Exactly today." The truth is brutal. Procrastination doesn't delay your dreams, it erodes your identity. Every time you say, "I'll start tomorrow," you're not just pushing a task into the future, you're slowly digging a hole in your own self-respect. You're telling your mind that comfort is more important than commitment, that ease outweighs evolution, that silence is safer than showing up. But the Stoic takes a different path. They know that strength is not born from convenience, it's forged in resistance. Not in the easy moments, but in the awkward, uncomfortable, unwanted beginnings. Not when everything aligns, but when everything aches. That's why the strongest decision you can make is to begin exactly where you don't want to. To start before you're ready. To move before motivation arrives. To step forward when everything inside you screams to stay still. Because that first difficult step, it's not just movement, it's a declaration. It says, "I will not be ruled by preference, I will not be delayed by doubt. I move because it's right, not because it's easy." Remember this. True power isn't found in bursts of inspiration. It's found in quiet defiance, in walking straight into the fire of resistance and choosing to keep going anyway. 2. The enemy is not out there, it lives in your mind. The greatest battles you'll ever fight won't be with the world. They'll be with yourself. The Stoics understood that discipline is not about defeating external forces. It's about mastering the internal chaos, the soft voice that tells you to give in, the subtle whisper that says, "Just this once." That voice doesn't yell. It negotiates. It seduces with comfort. It disguises weakness as wisdom and hesitation as logic. And that's why most people lose. Not because life is too hard, but because they never silence the enemy within. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And mastery doesn't come from shouting affirmations into the mirror. It comes from quiet control. From noticing your thoughts before they take root. From catching the excuse before it becomes a habit. The Stoic stands guard at the gates of their mind. They don't allow every feeling to become truth. They don't trust every craving or follow every fear. They question it all. Why do I want this? What am I trying to avoid? Is this impulse aligned with my values or just my comfort zone? This level of inner scrutiny is not torture. It's liberation. Because once you can separate what is true from what is tempting, you take your power back. You stop reacting. You start choosing. You stop being a puppet to your emotions and start becoming the author of your behavior. Remember, discipline is not the absence of emotion. It's the refusal to be ruled by it. It's the moment when you feel like quitting and you take one more step anyway. It's when fear rises and you move forward calmly, without drama. Because you've trained for this. Because your standards aren't based on how you feel today, but on who you've committed to becoming. And that internal consistency, that quiet strength that no one sees, is what makes you untouchable. 3. Discipline doesn't need inspiration, it needs a system. How many times have you said, "I'll start next Monday, when I feel more motivated"? Let's be honest, motivation is a liar. It comes and goes like the weather. If your self-respect depends on your mood, you're building your life on sand. The Stoics didn't wait for inspiration. They didn't rely on feeling like it. They built fortresses of routine, quiet, simple, unshakable. No hype, no drama, just structure. Wake up early. Write down your thoughts. Train your body. Sit in silence. Reflect in the evening. These aren't glamorous habits. No one claps for them. But they're the bricks that build a mind that doesn't crumble when life gets loud. Because here's the truth. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your structure. When your day is engineered around your values, you don't need to get motivated. You just move. You don't hope to do the right thing. You've designed your day to make the right thing easier. That's Stoicism in action. Not emotional highs, not perfect timing. Just systems that honor your standard even when your feelings try to pull you off course. And you don't need to start big. You need to start predictably. One wake-up time, one writing session, one daily walk, one moment of stillness. Link them together, repeat, let them become your rhythm. Because over time, routine becomes identity. And identity doesn't waver when motivation disappears. Key insight. You don't need to feel inspired every day. You need a structure that removes the need for inspiration. Discipline is not built in heroic bursts. It's built in quiet, boring repetition done anyway. And that's what makes it unstoppable. 4. The Stoic chooses voluntary discomfort before life forces it upon him. Comfort is seductive. It tells you you're okay just as you are. It whispers that you've earned a break, that you've done enough. But deep down, you know this. Comfort is a slow, quiet death. And the Stoics knew it too. That's why they didn't run from hardship. They walked into it on purpose. Not to suffer for the sake of suffering, but to stay sharp, to stay honest, to stay ready. Because the truth is, if you only train when it's convenient, if you only act when the conditions are perfect, then when real adversity hits you, will fold. Musonius Rufus once said, "If you wish to be good, first believe that you are bad." Not to shame yourself, but to remind yourself there is always work to be done. So how does the Stoic train? Not in luxury gyms or expensive retreats, but in silence, in sweat, in daily discomfort. Taking cold showers, fasting from indulgence, sitting still when your mind wants to flee, saying no to pleasures that weaken you, doing the task even when no one will applaud, walking when it's easier to sit, speaking up when it's terrifying, staying silent when anger begs to speak. These are not punishments. They are preparations. They are how you remind yourself, I am not fragile. I can do hard things. Because when you choose discomfort voluntarily, you build an armor that life cannot pierce. You rehearse suffering in small doses. So when life throws real pain your way, you've already built the mental muscle to endure it. You've trained in the shadows. So when the lights go out, you're the one who remains steady. Key insight. Discomfort is not your enemy. Avoiding it is. Hardship reveals who you are. Voluntary hardship shapes who you become. Don't wait for life to challenge you. Challenge yourself first. That is where strength is born and weakness dies. 5. Do the work without applause. Can you stay committed, even when no one is watching? Can you keep your word to yourself, even when there's no praise, no reward, no finish line? That's the real test. The Stoic doesn't chase approval. They don't wait for recognition. They don't need the world to clap for them to do what's right. Because discipline is not performance. It's a pact. A sacred agreement with the future self you're becoming. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't hanker after what you don't have. Focus instead on the finest things you do possess and think how much you'd long for them if they weren't yours." Discipline is one of those things. Quiet, invisible, powerful. It's what pulls you forward when motivation fades. It's the reason you get up before sunrise. It's why you train when no one cares. Why you uphold your values when no one's looking. And guess what? No one will clap for you. There's no standing ovation when you say no to temptation. No gold medal for choosing restraint. No headline for doing the right thing. In silence. But that's exactly what makes it powerful. Because when you keep going without applause, you're not feeding your ego. You're building your soul. The Stoic understands this. The most important promises are the ones you keep privately. The ones no one knows about. The ones that don't trend, don't sparkle, don't impress, but define who you are when the spotlight's gone. So, wake early, even when no one sees. Say no to distractions, even when no one would blame you. Work on your craft, even when progress feels invisible. Hold your standard, even when no one else is holding theirs. Not because it's glamorous, but because it's right. Key insight. Let your silence be your applause. Let your integrity be your reward. You don't need the world's attention. You need your own respect. Because when the world grows quiet, that's when your true voice finally speaks. 6. Pain is a signal, not a stop sign. Most people run from pain. The Stoic listens to it. Because pain, unlike comfort, doesn't lie. It doesn't flatter. It doesn't sugarcoat. It speaks in a language so sharp, so honest, that most can't bear to hear it. But for the Stoic, pain is not a punishment. It's a message, a mirror, a compass. It says, here is where you are weak. Here is what you've avoided. Here is what you must face if you want to grow. Where most see pain as a reason to stop, the Stoic sees it as a doorway. Not something to endure forever, but something to walk through with purpose. Marcus Aurelius said, if it's endurable, then endure it. If not, stop complaining. That's it. No drama, no victimhood, just clarity. To the undisciplined, pain feels like a malfunction. To the Stoic, it's feedback. Pain in the body, train smarter, strengthen what's weak. Pain in the mind, observe your thoughts, find the story you're clinging to. Pain in the heart, look deeper. Is it ego? Is it expectation? Is it a truth you're resisting? The Stoic doesn't react to pain. They respond. With questions, with adjustments, with resolve. They know pain isn't the end. It's the test. It asks, were you serious, or were you only committed when it felt good? Because real strength is not built in comfort. It's revealed in adversity. It's born in those quiet, private battles where quitting is easy. But you stay. And when the pain passes, and it always does, it leaves behind something no comfort ever could. Resilience, clarity, proof. Proof that you didn't fold. Proof that you kept going when no one would have blamed you for stopping. Stoic reminder. Don't numb the pain, name it, learn from it, rise through it. Pain doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're being refined. And if you let it, it'll teach you who you truly are. Not the version that smiles when life is easy, but the one who stands tall when everything inside says, kneel. 7. Win the small moments. We think greatness is built in grand battles. In reality, it's shaped in silence. Not in the arena, not in the spotlight, but in those tiny, forgettable decisions when no one's watching, and you still choose to rise. Discipline doesn't demand glory. It demands consistency, especially in moments that feel like they don't matter. But they do, because hitting snooze is not just 5 more minutes. It's 5 more minutes of training your mind that promises can be broken. Because skipping the workout isn't about rest. It's about teaching yourself that goals are optional. The Stoic knows this. They don't chase perfection. They win the day by winning the next 10 seconds. It's in the decision to pause instead of react, to breathe instead of blame, to show up instead of scroll, to finish the last rep, to take the uncomfortable but honest path. No one applauds you for not snapping at someone, but that's self-control, it's armor. No one sees you putting your phone away to read a book, but that attention, it's sharpening your mind. These are not dramatic victories, they're sacred. They're how you quietly build a self that doesn't collapse in storms. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Because winning the small moments often looks invisible until it isn't. Each one is a brick, a decision that becomes a habit that becomes identity, and an identity that becomes unshakable. Stoic reminder: don't underestimate the power of small wins. Because when the big test comes, when life hits hard, you'll either fall back on discipline or fall apart in regret. Train in the little things. They are the hidden gym where your soul gets strong. Not loud, not impressive, but quietly unstoppable. 8. Say no with conviction. You're not disciplined if you can't say no. Not just to others, but to yourself. To impulses, to distractions, to comfort dressed as opportunity. Every yes you say without clarity is a small betrayal of who you're trying to become. Because every yes is also a no to something else. And most people? They say yes to everything, and end up loyal to nothing. The Stoic is different. They treat time as sacred. They treat focus as currency, and they guard both like warriors. They say no to pointless meetings, no to emotional bait, no to chasing every dopamine hit, no to obligations that don't align with their higher path. They're not rude. They're clear, because clarity is kindness to yourself and to others. Saying no is not rejection. It's redirection back to your mission, your values, your standard. Marcus Aurelius didn't rule Rome by pleasing everyone. He ruled himself first. He understood this. If something doesn't support your purpose, it distracts from it. And here's what most people don't realize. Saying no takes more strength than saying yes. Because yes gets applause. Yes avoids conflict. Yes gives you short-term peace. But yes can quietly destroy your life. The Stoic doesn't chase being liked. They chase being aligned. And that requires sacrifice. It means being misunderstood. It means missing out. It means risking judgment from those who don't live by the same code. But the reward? Freedom. Freedom from guilt. Freedom from chaos. Freedom from living a life built on other people's expectations. Stoic reminder: your discipline is only as strong as your ability to say no. Say it with respect. Say it with calm. But say it with conviction. Every no to weakness is a louder yes to strength. And in that clarity, you become untouchable. 9. Lead yourself first. Before you lead a team, a family, or a business, you must first lead yourself. Most people want authority, but they forget. Real authority begins in the mirror. No title, no power, no wealth can cover up the truth. If you can't keep promises to yourself, you'll break them for everyone else. Self-leadership is not glamorous. It happens in the quiet. When no one is watching, when no one claps, when there's no reward except self-respect. It's waking up early not because you have to, but because you said you would. It's doing the hard thing, even when no one's holding you accountable. The Stoics understood this. You don't inspire people by preaching. You inspire them by living, by being the calm in chaos, by being the action, not the excuse. Epictetus once said, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Because your life is your loudest message. Your habits are your loudest commands. If your life is messy, your leadership will be too. If your discipline is negotiable, your influence is weak. If you wait for motivation, you'll only move when others do." But the Stoic, they initiate. They don't need pressure. They are the pressure. They don't beg for accountability. They live in alignment. They set the tone. They don't just talk about integrity, they breathe it. They don't demand trust, they earn it. Because true leadership is built one small decision at a time. Waking up, showing up, cleaning up, leveling up. And the world follows not the loudest voice, but the one with the most consistency. Stoic reminder. Lead yourself first. Be the standard you expect from others. Because the one who can govern his own thoughts, choices, and emotions is the only one fit to lead anything else. Not by force, but by example. 10. Discipline is love for your future self. Discipline is not self-hatred. It is self-love in action. You don't wake up early because you hate sleep. You wake up because you love your goals more. You don't train because you dislike your body. You train because you respect your future self. You don't resist temptation out of guilt. You do it out of devotion to the life you want to build. Real love isn't soft. It's not indulgent. It's not about giving yourself every comfort, every pleasure, every excuse. Real love says, "I see who you could become, and I will not let you settle." Discipline is the invisible armor around that love. It's what keeps you steady when the world gets noisy. It's what holds the line when your feelings try to negotiate. It's the structure that protects your peace, your progress, your purpose. The Stoics didn't view discipline as punishment. They saw it as preparation, a gift you give to the person you are becoming. Each disciplined act says, "I matter, my values matter, my time matters." You keep going not because you feel like it, but because you made a promise, and you refuse to break it. That is love. Not loud, not romantic, not flashy, but sacred. It's the kind of love that builds a foundation strong enough to hold up your dreams. It's the kind of love that denies you the comfort of quitting, because it believes in something more. You don't need perfect motivation. You need a deep reason. You need a version of yourself so strong, so clear, that you'd rather sweat now than suffer later. Stoic reminder. Discipline isn't a cage, it's commitment. It's the quiet way you say, "I care about my future enough to act today." And that, in its purest form, is love with a backbone. Conclusion. Discipline isn't a cage, it's the gateway to freedom. You don't need to be perfect to start, but you do need to start if you want to become powerful. So remember, don't wait for motivation, move first, and it will follow. Don't wait for applause, be your own witness. Don't run from pain, it's the teacher of strength. You don't need 100 perfect days. Just one courageous moment repeated daily can change your life. If this message speaks to you, like the video, subscribe, and leave a comment. I choose discipline, starting today. Let that be your first step.